Okay, we reached the section of the book featuring the Atari Jaguar. It only contains one game, even though I mention others, and we'll be getting back to this great console in the future. But for now, dig Cybermorph by Attention to Detail / Atari, 1993. This is my favorite Jaguar game, at least among those without versions on other platforms. It occasionally ties with Tempest 2000, depending on the day. I loved this pack-in as soon as I played it, having purchased the discounted $35 console at KB Toys in August of '97. Some of the comments that I've read about this game over the years are preposterous. First of all, you can turn off the bald chick's voice. Doesn't anyone read manuals? Hell, that's always been part of the overall experience to me. Back in the 80s in particular, I never knew when another game would be forthcoming, so I got all that I could out of the latest retail windfall granted by my folks. Besides, I wanted to make sure I wouldn't miss something that wasn't immediately noticeable. As I was saying, you can silence Skylar in finest Orwellian fashion with a couple of button pushes. Speaking of the buttons, and in fact the whole controller, it's one of the most comfortable I've ever used. Disregarding my big hands, it's become dishearteningly apparent that the default activity of people with no real problems is to endlessly seek things to whine about. The Jaguar controller is disparaged nearly as often as Cybermorph itself, which matters to the non-suggestible player not one jot. Some have compared the game with Super Nintendo StarFox, titled Starwing in Europe, but this is groundless. While they both involve simulated 3D, StarFox is merely a shooting gallery with a forced scroll. You can't change directions. It's essentially a rehashed Space Harrier, or Afterburner, that type of game. There's nothing wrong with them, but there's no real freedom. In Cybermorph you can stop, turn to any heading, fly somewhere else and return to find the same foes, objects, and structures that you've left there. So it's more akin to Doom in a spaceship than a wallpaper game, as I call any scrolling shoot-'em-up that doesn't allow the player to turn around. You can completely orbit any of Cybermorph's numerous planets on whichever trajectory you like. Each world harbors a particular amount of pods that must be rescued, enemies that can be thoroughly eliminated, and even buildings that can all be demolished. The power-ups are very easy to select and use, so you can concentrate on the action rather than the controls. Similarly to beating any of the best first-person levels in Gameland, it's with some reluctance that I depart from each of this game's beautiful worlds. Every idyllically unrealistic, video-gamey landscape of pixelation, devoid of modern pretense, reminds me that there's an abundance of worlds left for game makers to conjure. Far-fetched environs that perhaps currently simmer in several young minds as I type and talk, and which will flower only if those fresh intellects can resist their own penchants for impressionability. Maybe games like StarFox are perfect for players who like to be told where to go. Granted, its Nintendo 64 sequel, called StarFox 64 if you can imagine that, includes a multiplayer option, and I guess you can go wherever you want in that. If you're into that sort of thing, Cybermorph isn't going to do you much good. Nor would it, by the way, if you were comparing it with Mythicon's unrelated StarFox, 2 words this time, for the Atari 2600. But that would also call for the comparison between you and a weirdo. I'm sappy about the Jaguar anyway, as it was the first platform on which I played Doom. This must have been in late '97. Incidentally, id Software's original PC Engine coder John Carmack wrote that Jaguar adaptation. To this day, Doom is my favorite first-person game. Well, if I want to be nitpicky, Doom 2 is, because of the super shotgun. I've been enjoying the PC version for ages, owing to the countless homespun maps available. Also in the late 90s, I liked Alien vs. Predator enough to beat it. Wolfenstein 3D and Iron Soldier are even better. The Jaguar really is a great console. The Defender Plus option on the Defender 2000 cartridge is awesome as well, and Zool 2 is one of my favorite platform games, on anything. Man, I remember I was wearing a wide smile and wider eyes when I first watched one of the skyscrapers in Iron Soldier crumble to pieces. I'd never seen anything like that. Atari, you had done it again. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, I'm aware that Eclipse actually designed Iron Soldier, but Atari released and manufactured it. So there. And now we get to the Commodore 64. And the first game is Crazy Sue Plus.